introduce Mr. Bill Gates. Based in Seattle, Washington, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, also known as the Gates Foundation, is a private philanthropic organization founded by Bill and Melinda Gates. It was launched in 2000 and is reputed to be the largest private foundation in the US. The primary aim of the foundation are globally to enhance healthcare and reduce extreme poverty, and in America to expand educational opportunities and access to information technology. The foundation has endowed and supported a broad range of social, health, and educational developments around the world, including in Nigeria. It is currently collaborating with the Dangote Foundation and several other governmental and non-governmental agencies on developmental issues across Nigeria. My pleasure to introduce Mr. Bill Gates.
Thank you. It's a great honor to participate in this important forum. Your Excellency, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President of the Senate, Speaker of the House, Your Excellencies, Executive Governors, Royal Fathers, my great partner Aliko Dangote, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and as you say in Nigeria, all other protocols observed. Thank you for your warm welcome. I've been coming here regularly since 2006, and I've always felt welcome. Nigerians greet me warmly. The first time I met the Sultan of Sokoto, I was honored that he greeted me with the gift of a white horse. At some point during every visit, though, some brave person eventually asks me very politely, why are you actually here? It's an understandable question. Most American technologists don't wander around Nigeria learning about its health system. But I think I have a good answer. When Microsoft was started 40 years ago, I wanted to build a successful business, but I also wanted to make people's lives better. I believed computers could revolutionize the way people lived and worked. But back then, only big companies could afford them. I wanted to give access to everyone. As I got older and traveled more and learned about the world, I realized that billions of people had problems that computers couldn't solve. They lacked the basics of a good life: food, shelter, health, education, and opportunity. And so I started my second career with my wife, Melinda. With the money I'd been lucky enough to earn at Microsoft, we started working toward a different goal: a healthy and productive life for everyone. That's why I come to Nigeria, and that's why Melinda and I will continue coming for as long as we can. Our foundation's biggest office in Africa is here. We've already committed over $1.6 billion in Nigeria so far. And in partnership with the government, we plan to increase our work here. We have a strong relationship across the board at the federal level, state level, businesses, NGOs, and civil society organizations. We're eager to support you as you work to make Nigeria a global economic powerhouse that provides opportunity for all its citizens. I'm impressed how much Nigeria has changed in the past decade. One example is the technology sector. The energy I talked about during the early days of Microsoft, our passion and our willingness to take risks, that same energy now powers technology hubs across Nigeria like Co-Creation and Inspire. The novelist Chimamanda Adichie, whom my wife especially admires, captured the country spirit when she said her fellow Nigerians have big dreams and big ambitions. The line graph of Nigeria's per capita GDP shows where those dreams and ambitions can lead. With the exception of the recent recession, the slope goes up. As a result of this growth, Nigeria is now the biggest economy on the continent. You're rapidly approaching middle-income status like Brazil, China, and Mexico. But growth is not inevitable. Nigeria has unmatched economic potential, but what becomes of that potential depends on the choices you make as Nigeria's leaders. The most important choice you can make is to maximize your greatest resource, the Nigerian people. Nigeria will thrive when every Nigerian is able to thrive. If you invest in their health, education, and opportunities, the human capital that we're talking about today, then that will lay the foundation for sustained prosperity. If you don't, however, it is important to recognize there'll be a sharp limit on how much the country can grow. We see this risk in the data. From the point of view of quality of life, much of Nigeria still looks like a low-income country. Let me give a few examples. In middle-income countries, the average life expectancy is 75 years. In lower middle income, it's 68. In low-income countries, it's 62. In Nigeria, it's lower still, just 53 years. Nigeria is one of the most dangerous places in the world to give birth, with the fourth worst maternal mortality rate in the world, ahead of only Sierra Leone, Central African Republic, and Chad. 1 in 3 Nigerian children is chronically malnourished. It may not be polite to speak so bluntly when you've always been so gracious to me, but I'm applying an important lesson I learned with Aliko Dangote. Recently, Aliko and I were having a conversation with governors about their state's official immunization rates. Aliko's way of stressing the importance of accurate data was to tell us, I didn't get successful by pretending to sell bags of cement I didn't have. I took from that while it may be easier to be polite, it's important to face facts so that you can make progress. On immunization, we're already starting down that path. Last year, Nigeria revised its immunization cover numbers downwards to more accurately reflect the truth, and I applaud that. Things may look worse, but they're more real, and it's the first step towards saving and improving more lives. I urge you to apply this to all your investments in people. The Nigerian government's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan identifies investing in our people as one of 3 strategic objectives. But the execution priorities don't fully reflect people's needs. Prioritizing physical capital over human capital with a very limited government budget. To anchor the economy over the long term, investment in infrastructure must go hand in hand with investments in people. People without roads, ports, and factories can't flourish, but roads, ports, and factories without skilled workers to build and manage them can't sustain the economy. In preparation for this visit, I asked a research partner at the University of Washington to model Nigerian economic growth under 3 different scenarios related to investment in health and education, which are the core of how economists define human capital. Here you can see Nigeria's per capita GDP growth from 2000 until today. If current education and health trends continue, if you spend the same amount in these areas and get the same result, per capita GDP flatlines, with economic growth just barely keeping up with population growth. If things get worse, it will decline. And unfortunately, this scenario is almost the default scenario unless you intervene at federal and state levels. Because your income is now making you less eligible for certain kinds of development assistance and loans for example, from Gavi and the World Bank. And so a lot of the funding that supported primary health care, which has come through those World Bank loans, not only won't be coming, but the interest on those loans will become due. So without more and better spent domestic money, investment in your people will decline by default as the donor money shrinks, which is a lose-lose scenario for everyone. However, if you commit to getting better results in health and education, if you spend more and more effectively, per capita GDP will stay on its course to make a remarkable post-recession recovery. This is the scenario we all want. Nigeria thriving because every Nigerian is able to thrive. And the data makes it clear this is within reach. By investing in people, I mean prioritizing health and education, the factors included in the model I just showed. It also means opening up opportunities in agriculture and microenterprise sectors, as the government has proposed in the ERGP. It means creating conditions where Nigerians can reach their goals while adding value to the economy. Our foundation is not an investor in education here, but the recent World Bank World Development Report that just came out makes it clear that education is a key element in improvements in employment, productivity, and wages. Today, though, more than half of rural Nigerian children can't adequately read and write. The conclusion is inescapable. Nigeria's economy tomorrow depends on improving its schools today.